Okay, there's the hull sanded, and I had filled with extra epoxy and resanded so that there's still the odd little defect, but a little glazing in the paint should cover that. Overall, it's quite smooth now. And it was way dusty, more like this, but I wiped it down with a damp rag so that by the time I'm ready to paint, this side will be dry. Okay, I'm getting ready to paint the blue inside here, the sky blue that I have. So I made myself a cut tool out of a thin piece of laminate. I hate taping because, to be honest with you, what I find, you go through all that trouble of taping and it leaches under the tape anyway. And yeah, so this is ready now for a light coat. I'm not putting on heavy coats, a light coat at a time. We have one layer of paint. So that went only okay. There's still some fairing to do and a second coat, but it is certainly good enough. Once this is cured, a light sand and then a second coat. I'm running out of season. We're approaching August next week, and I bottom line need to get this girl in the water and get her tested. So, you know, at a glance, looks pretty good. I'm going to go with pretty good and not superb for the moment, and I can make superb happen in even next season will work. Do you like the color? I think it's pretty hot. And then with the gray detailing on the ceiling. Okay, there's the last coat of topside paint. Not perfect, but pretty darn good. Good enough for my 20-foot rule. It has to look good at 20 feet. So yeah, I did a bit of filling and sanding, and so now it has still a couple defects, but you know, it's good enough to get it out on the trailer and work with it. Next season, I can give it a sand and give it another coat. But for immediate purposes, it's darn nice. It's a marine quality paint. Yeah, so I'll peel the bottom tape, which is also blue, so it makes it look like the water line's lower than it is right now. And I'll show you again. There she is. Tape off. You can see the cut of the water line there. Everything's dusty. Everything in here is dusty. It's always dusty. Just assume it's dusty. And the bow, I got a little blue right there. That'll be cleaned up. At any rate, yeah. Not shabby, eh? Let's see. There we go. So, there we have a paint job completed to good standards. Not perfect standards, but good standards. Okay, I did some filling on the trap door and painted out the framework on it. And the other two hatches, I did some filling as well. And I used an exterior siding paint for the trim. Turned out really good, I think. We'll move on and clean up the cabin top and all the exterior ply parts that have been stained and varnish that. I just used a damp cloth on, it already has a couple coats of varnish, but it'll get a few more. But yeah, that gives you an idea how the color looks. And the front deck is, I'm just wiping that down, getting it ready for some varnish as well. It should look pretty hot when that's all varnished up. And I have accented the brass screws, and I think it gives it sort of a riveted, you know, older style build look. So I think that's going to come out quite nice. Look at that. I'm excited. I should get a coat of varnish on everything today, hopefully. So what I'm trying to do now is, well, fine, be that way. I found level. I used the level to level this, and then I went and wrapped the chain around until I found the link that ended up coming over to here. Yeehaw! I got one side set up. You can see how I recess the head of the bolt. That way it doesn't rub or interfere in here. And you can see how nicely this lifts now without the chain in the way. I have heard people say, oh, you're going to need some way to keep the chain from slapping. In practice, honestly, the boat doesn't move that much that it won't really slap much. It'll just rock. So the head of the bolt will have to get cut off. And I have to find another, that's kind of a locking bolt. And you'll notice I used a little rubber gasket because that came with the toilet bolt that I was using. So I thought that will soften the draw. That's a galvanized chain, 3/16. Okay, now I have both sides. You can see how this is set off to the side, so the chain goes off to the side nicely. Woohoo! Yes, you can be abusive and just drop it. Which hip wants to go first? the bad one, put it down low, and then I can get up. Yay! So, how strong is that? I'm 200 pounds, let's argue. I'm shy of 200 pounds nowadays, but there we go. That's got just you can feel a little bit of bounce, but not really. So, I guess you got to be able to jump up and down on it. Don't want anybody falling in. Well, that's... you can hear it. It's pretty strong. So, yeah, I'm pleased. That's coming together very nicely. So that'll help you get down onto shore. This bow is actually higher than our Deanne's Rose. I found with Osprey, slapping chains were not a problem. So initially I thought, oh, I can always throw it up over the newel post, right? But never do. Never do. I just leave it hanging. So that looks pretty hot in my humble opinion. There. Oh, doesn't that look good? How good is that? Wow, that looks really nice. Stupid strong. So I can't believe I found these really nice, wide, old style. They're steel, so they're a bit pitted. I cleaned them up a bit, and when they're painted, by the time these things rust, you could replace them for the cost of going stainless on everything. Oh, this is such a pretty picture. Okay, this is showing the trapdoor in the down position. Going to make the bow of the boat look very unique and very beautiful, I think, with the well painted out as well. You know, I get so entertained by some of these things. Nice entry. Woohoo. Beautiful. And so when you want to keep it up, you just latch these things down. Yeah, chain's definitely got to be a little bit on the blackened side. I use this Rust-Oleum. Let's do the French side first. That will educate us. Rust-Oleum, it's a hammer metal paint. By the way, I get no sponsorship, so don't worry about that. I'm trying to be non-biased. Use this can and sprayed it into a little cup, and with a painter's brush just went, and because it's antique-y, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that just blends it in so much nicer. Yeah, so much nicer, the black. That looks impressive in my humble opinion. So, one hatch complete. Looks amazing.